Woo, my oh my, what is going on, peeps? As per usual, welcome back to more esports talk. A lot of little stories wrapped up in this one, so please let me know if you guys enjoy this kind of format where instead of just one story or two stories, I think I'm sharing 3 or 4 with all of you today. The first of which was announced this past week, that being exclusive streaming rights to 2 figures out there from the Valorant scene for their own remarks. One being, of course, the almost becoming the meme of Coach Myth for TSM, and along with him, that being Ninja, who has competed. I think people say his roster right now is certainly, it's not tier 1, but it's kind of a tier 2 competitive roster out there that continues to make changes, and even a guy like Ninja has gone heavy into the Valorant side of things. Those 2 figures have now been selected to be exclusive streaming partners for the First Strike events, which are ongoing. At the point of me recording, it was actually G2 who just fell to Heretics, which is pretty crazy considering G2 has literally won every event they've competed at in Europe so far this year. So the fall has been pretty shocking. As Valorant continues to be very fun to watch, it seems you can now watch it in one of 3 options, that being the mainstream or 2 of the co-streamers, Ninja and Myth. I will say though, based on a few responses out there, people were confused and some people were pissed off as to why only these 2 got to be exclusive streaming partners for the First Strike event. As in previous events, it's been pretty wide open for who can actually watch and do viewer parties. Myth has been doing them probably more frequently than anyone else. I will say this, Riot Games' selection of those 2 figures, Ninja and Myth, for North American or Valorant in general, they do make perfect sense. Some people concerned out there of the TSM ties and the bias that Myth might have. I really, quite frankly, if you're watching TSM Myth, you can probably expect him to make jokes about every single team, so I don't have an issue with that. I think Ninja's a great and, of course, a streamer that can actually pull some eyes. I would probably prefer the list to be expanded in the future, so I will tell you guys this. Let's calm down. Riot Games so far with Valorant has done a very good job in responding pretty timely to these kind of complaints. So hopefully in the future, for future events, they'll expand that partnership list. And I expect them to respond on this because it did receive a bit of traction and some backlash for only 2 streamers being chosen, when in the past, just about everyone could do it and do these kind of viewing parties. It does make sense though for Riot Games to have a main broadcast where most of the eyes are, because partnerships, sponsorships, it becomes very difficult when all of a sudden you allow anyone to restream your game. So both sides certainly make sense. I think time will tell, and a Riot Games response will help clarify the issue, which I don't think is that big of an issue as of right now. And speaking of an ongoing issue, and one of the first to announce for the year of 2021, which I really do think is super sad, that's going to be Fortnite now announcing officially no World Cup for this year 2020 and no World Cup for 2021 either. In case you guys missed the news shortly after this, I believe within 24 hours, Counter-Strike Global Offensive now also announced the cancellation of their first major, at least for 2021 as well. It seems that a lot of TOs will be following suit, and LAN events are going to be a one-off for quite some time in esports, or at least until the near future. It does suck for a game like Fortnite because for me personally, to see a $30+ million event bring back some of the OG competitors to try and compete for that prize pool would have been amazing to try and see, you know. What if Ninja tries to come back? What if Myth, ironically, they try and come back? Tfue, Cloaksy, Symphony, Nick Mercs, they all try and come back to qualify for World Cup. That would have been super exciting. Either way, they will still have, I assume, plenty of prize money and prize pools compared to other esports. Those young kids will have a lot of opportunities to make their cash back. FNCS trios will be the main focus, as they did announce in their statement, citing our intent is to eventually hold global in-person tournaments again, but our priority for any such event is the health and safety of our players and staff. With so much still unknown about what is practical and safe, we do not plan to hold in-person events in 2021, including a Fortnite World Cup. We will continue to provide online competition throughout 2021 with the hopes that physical events in some form can return at some point in the future. So yes, it sucks, but Fortnite will likely not be the only one to cancel in-person and LAN events. At least we got Worlds going on. At least we got COD Champs probably going to be online again. Yes, we will have events here and there, but it'll be very curious to see what Valve does with CSGO and Dota as the international prize pool continues to rise. You know, will they do an online TI? I don't know. Will they have to be forced to actually do a bubble format like League of Legends? I don't know. It's going to be a crazy, crazy year. Now, speaking of pandemic, speaking of virus, we also have our first Valorant team unfortunately disqualified due to a COVID outbreak on it. It it was actually a Brazilian team, because for the Brazilian regionals for First Strike, they were actually doing those in studio for those teams as well. Unfortunately for Team Vorax, they have now announced they'll be withdrawing and technically disqualified due to one of their members being exposed to the COVID virus, and Riot Games is taking zero chances and saying, hey, we are unfortunately sorry, and the team does agree. They have now been disqualified from that said event. Now, very lastly, in a wrap-up for all of you guys, another Brazilian team out there under some flack and fire, and not the only Counter-Strike roster or team that should be. Let me clarify that. That's going to be MIBR from the CSGO scene, and unfortunately so, Flashpoint issuing a statement as to being caught maybe watching some streams in ways that, you know, give an unfair advantage. MIBR has now been fined $10,000 for the instance. Keep in mind, though, it was actually a gigantic stream sniping case by the ESIC brought to light this past week, where several CSGO teams and players and coaches were supposedly guilty, but no punishments were issued because it potentially could very much hurt the CSGO scene. Following that, Flashpoint has now announced a $10,000 fine, though, for MIBR.
Hello, I'm Monte Cristo, the Flashpoint Commissioner. We had a conversation about MIBR's viewing of the stream with our Board of Governors and have decided on the following action. In the Flashpoint playoff match between OG and MIBR, it came to our attention that MIBR had the official Flashpoint stream on a television that the team could watch from their playing positions. While we have our streams on a long delay to reduce the amount of information teams can gain from watching the broadcast, we still find MIBR's action to be a breach of a competitive integrity in our event. We will be fining MIBR $10,000 from their prize winnings and donating it to a Brazilian charity that we will select after the conclusion of our tournament. All Flashpoint teams have been notified that any evidence of watching the broadcast stream during their matches will result in disqualification.
So what do you guys think about that, huh? Do you guys like the wrap-ups? I'm really trying to figure out, the YouTube algorithm hates us because we upload so many videos. If you guys like this, leave a comment, leave a like down below if you want to. I'm just trying to figure out how I can fit 4 to 5 stories in a single video, but also title around it. It's very, very difficult, but it's also very fun to talk about. So until next time, hope you guys all take care of yourselves, okay? Take a sip for me. I'll see you back here sometime soon.